Aloha, good afternoon, everyone. At approximately 9:45 a.m., a District 2 patrol officer was en route to a weapons call at Kaina Point when he saw a white Ford pickup truck on Farrington Highway, matching the description, traveling in the opposite direction. The officer made a U-turn, at which time we believe the suspect vehicle observed this and turned off Farrington Highway into the Mokuleia Polo Grounds, ramming through a gate. That officer and another officer who was also en route pulled into the Polo Grounds and was near the truck, and they could observe the driver. They saw a firearm in the hands of the driver of the vehicle. They reversed their police vehicles to set up a perimeter. And at that time, patrol called the Specialized Services Division to respond to the incident. Over the next several hours, the suspect pointed a handgun at himself, at the male who was seated in the front seat of the truck, passenger side. The suspect also fired multiple rounds toward the ocean, in the air, and at the ground. He also requested water and cigarettes from the officers. During this time, a command post was set up. The suspect did not communicate with any negotiators, but he did contact other individuals by cell phone. At around 12:10, the passenger exited the truck to retrieve water that was placed several feet away from the truck, and the HPD Bearcat that was parked close by positioned itself between that passenger and the suspect truck. The two officers exited that vehicle and approached the truck toward the suspect on the driver's side. Hearing a gunshot, both officers engaged the suspect at that time, and the suspect died from one or more gunshots. An autopsy is pending. The male passenger was treated at the scene. He was later arrested for a drug offense and will be released pending further investigation. The two officers involved in this incident who discharged their firearms are assigned to the Specialized Services Division. One has 10 years and the other has 18 years of service, and they will both be offered administrative leave, which is appropriate to our protocols and procedures. At this time, I will take your questions.
Do we know, Chief, at this point, whether the officers were the ones who neutralized the suspect or whether the suspect may have self-defense?
I think the investigation will play that out, and we have to, pending the autopsy. So we don't know at this point.
Was the hostage still already in the pickup truck when it was approached by patrol officers at Canada Point, or was the hostage taken later?
The hostage was in the truck at the time the officers first observed it, I believe at Kaina Point. And then at the Mokuleia field, the victim was still in the vehicle at that time.
Indications that the hostage and the suspect knew each other?
There's indications that they knew each other. What exactly that relationship is, we don't know.
And I know that there were efforts obviously made to try to bring this to a peaceful resolution, and maybe you can expand upon that a little bit more because, as you mentioned, crisis negotiators were there.
Absolutely. So we try to de-escalate any situation of this magnitude, well, really all situations, especially situations involving the use of deadly force, firearms involved. There were negotiators there. There was, from what my understanding is, there was no contact between the negotiators and the suspect. But he was yelling commands or requests to the Bearcat. Of the officers that were in the Bearcat could hear what the individual was asking for, and he was asking for water and cigarettes. Other than that, there was no other contact.
You said that he kept shooting toward the ocean. At any point before the last confrontation, did he fire at any time toward where any officers were?
We don't know. We believed, so that part of the situation we're not quite sure. That investigation will bear that out. He did point his gun at the individual, the victim, at himself, at the Bearcat and the officers within the Bearcat, and then, as well as shooting rounds outside And then there was a gunshot as the Bearcat was able to separate the victim from the suspect. The two officers left the Bearcat to intercept in case the suspect was going to go after the victim at that point. So at that point is when they heard the gunshot at the victim, or the suspect was standing outside the truck. It was at that time the engagement happened.
In my experience, a lot of times these standoffs can take a long time. This one seemed to be shorter, so to speak. And what do you as police chief feel comfortable with the outcome in the fact that unfortunately there was the loss of life, but at least at this point, no officers were injured, and how would you characterize how HPD handled the situation?
Unfortunately, we do have a loss of life, and that's always a sad situation, and our thoughts out to the families that's related to this individual. But yes, the officers there followed the procedures and protocols in place. I believe they did everything they could to de-escalate the situation. Unfortunately, the situation culminated into the events that led up to his death.
For viewers that might not know, can you explain what a Bearcat is?
A Bearcat is a large armored vehicle that our Specialized Services Division uses to, engage or protect officers inside the vehicle from outside firearms because it's bulletproof. So it allows us to get closer to the scene and keep our officers safe.
And then were police aware of any social media posts from the man?
I understand there was social media posts. Exactly what those are, I'm not sure yet. I think the investigation will provide more information for that.
And do we have an age that we can provide?
I think he was a younger, he was an adult, but I don't know his exact age. Jack? We're not releasing that. The medical examiner will release that at the time of notification of next of kin.
Was when the victim was arrested for the drug offense, was it for a prior drug offense or an offense that presented itself today?
I think it was yes, it was something that presented itself at that time.
Can you confirm his ID? We have Andy Dumbro, who looks like he left a suicide note on his Facebook.
I will not confirm that. Again, the medical examiner will release the name at the time, at the appropriate time.
How many officers, there are a lot of cop cars, how many officers guesstimate arrived on scene today?
That I don't know. I'd have to further ask what the full response was. But I know patrol, the District 2 was out there, and the Specialized Services Division was also there, along with the crisis negotiation team.
Just to refresh our memories, when the officers are placed on administrative leave, when would that leave end?
That's normally 3 days, but it's really, if they don't need the full 3 days and they're ready to come back to work, then that's fine.
You said the suspect didn't interact with negotiators, but do you have any idea what his sort of state of mind or behavior was like during?
I know he was pointing the firearm at himself, at the victim that was in the vehicle with him, at the officers in the Bearcat. So what his actual state of mind is, that I'm not sure.
So it's not clear if he was erratic or
Yeah, that I don't know.
So again, at this point, when the officers at the end heard the gunshot and then took action, we still don't know where that initial gunshot that led to the end went, so to speak.
Correct. We don't know if it was at the officers or it was self-inflicted on him, yes.
Do we know much about the suspect? Was he already known to police prior to this?
I think we don't know that right now. I think the investigation will provide additional information as to any relationship that we might know or engagement that officers may have had.
Would you be ready to confirm not the suspect's name, but the victim's name at this time?
We're not releasing that at this time.
And do you have how many shots were fired throughout the whole incident, hours, months?
We believe the suspect fired approximately 10 or more rounds, and the police officers fired somewhere around 3 or 4 rounds each. That's what we understand right now.
And did it end around 12:15-ish this afternoon?
Yes, I think well, that I'm not sure the exact time. I know it was around 12 when the SSD and the engagement started. So it was very quick. Once the suspect left the vehicle to get the water, or the victim, sorry, left the vehicle to get the water, it was within 30 seconds, the situation was over. I think that is still ongoing, part of the investigation. So I do not have that information at this time.
Can we expect any body-worn camera footage to be released?
We're looking to see if the body-worn camera, we believe patrol officers that were initially at the scene would have, so we're looking into that.
It's not clear yet if,
We believe there is, we're just double checking to make sure that it is. Right.
And then, sorry, one last question, from me at least. I believe there was a family member who was there. Was he or she used to help calm the situation down?
That I've heard, so I don't know if the family member was there.
Was the gun registered or stolen?
I think that's still, the investigation will lay all that out as far as information on the firearm that was used. All right, thank you very much.